going to pass the microphone straight to Dr. Steve Burton, who needs no introduction of the amazing work he does at Leeds Beckett University. Over to you, Steve.
Thanks very much, Julian. As you've just said, my name's Steve. It's really great to be on this call with you guys. Thank you ever so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and talk to us about master's degrees here at Leeds Beckett University. I'm going to hand on shortly to my colleague Meri, who I'll give a brief introduction to when the time is right. But for myself, as I say, I'm Steve. I'm the head of subject for a department called Digital Transformative Education, which is a small department in a large UK university. I'm actually based on campus today. There aren't many people in this room where I am, as you can see, but I'm currently talking to you from Leeds, in Yorkshire, in the United Kingdom, where our university is situated. Our team is visible on the screen right now. You can see that we are a small team, small but perfectly formed. You can see me on the left there. Meri is actually squatting down in the lower right. You'll get to meet her properly in a couple of moments. That photograph was actually taken in January of this year, where we were exhibiting at the BET show in London, which is an enormous educational technology show that actually travels the world. So they have BET shows all over the world. We were at the London exhibition this morning, which was earlier this year, which was a really great experience for us. But our department, as I say, we're called Digital Transformative Education. We're all about... Now, Alex has an issue. Can anyone see or hear anything? Can we have some thumbs up, please, if you can hear me? Yeah, I've got thumbs on screen. Excellent. Alex, I think it might be an issue with Alex, Michael and Sarah might be having some issue hearing and seeing things. Could that be a VPN thing, Julian?
Yeah, it's possible, but I've just turned mine off and I'm currently in China. But yeah, guys, welcome to use the chat. If you guys can hear us, we've had a couple people saying they can't. You guys able to message in the group to see if you guys can hear us?
Yeah, I think Alex had an issue and now doesn't. I think Alex has put a comment on to say that everything's okay now. So let's, and Jen, thank you. You can hear us. That's great. We'll carry on, and the recording will be available afterwards as well. So please, if you are struggling, do bear with the connection. So our department is all about digital learning and transformative learning. Our sort of ethos, our moral purpose is to help the next generation by creating teachers that are brave, that are ethical, that are knowledgeable, and that are willing to really challenge assumptions about teaching and learning, to make the world a better place, to make the children, the young people, the adults that they are teaching into more rounded learners. We are an expert team. You just saw that beautiful photograph of us taken in London. We have a wide range of specialisms in and amongst us, specialisms around leadership and management in education, specialisms around mental health in education. We have specialisms in digital learning. We have specialisms in teaching adults. We have specialisms in artificial intelligence. We have specialisms in inclusive learning in education, all within this small team. I should, and I haven't, so I will admit to you, friends, I haven't done this maths beforehand. I should have worked out exactly how many years experience of working in education we have amongst the team. It's going to be into the hundreds, even hundreds of years, even though we're only a small team. But we are experts. We have a range of, if you think around half the team hold doctorates in education, all the team have master's degrees in education. We are all active researchers. We're all active publishers. So we write textbooks on education. We publish articles on education, and we're called to give keynote speeches in conferences, etc. So you are dealing with people that really live and breathe education. And that's important. No matter where you decide to go for your next steps in terms of your own professional development, you want to know that you're doing it with other professionals that actually see the value and are committed to the value that education can bring to the world. We have a very diverse student community, and that's what I think Meri and myself are probably most proud of. I was actually driving into Leeds this morning from my home. I live about 30 miles away from campus, about 50 kilometres from campus. And I was thinking that the only continent on planet Earth that we do not have a student in is Antarctica. So Meri, you're on the call and you're listening. We need to sort that out. We need to find a student or students in Antarctica, and then we have literally covered the world in this department. But we do have a very diverse student community. We have students who are aspiring to teach. We have students that are new to teaching. We have students that have been teaching for 30 years and want to think about continuing their professional development. We have head teachers, we have senior leaders, we have police officers that train student officers. We've just actually, Meri and myself have just been in a call with a prison in the United Kingdom, where we're looking at transforming the way that they teach prisoners. So they're actually starting to consider prisoners as students and rehabilitating them for coming back into the world. Our department is hoping to take a major role in that. So I don't think we could be more diverse as a student group until we get Antarctica. It's a very collaborative learning environment. We actually believe in an approach to learning that's called developing communities of practice. So we very much see our team, our leadership, our teachers, our students, all on a level. We are one community that's developing together. So we have expertise in getting you through modules, understanding how universities work, how assessments work, marking, etc. But you have expertise that you're going to bring to these to our sessions, to your assignments, etc. And we can't do our job without the brilliant expertise that each and every one of our students brings. So we very much do see the way we approach education has been as developing this amazing community of practice. In relation to the courses that we offer in this department, there's a few there for you to look at. I will say straight from the start of this slide, we have other master's degrees in the School of Education. Meri and myself are going to talk about the master's degrees that we offer in our department, because we have a very established and thoughtful approach to distance learning. So these are the courses that we deliver. If you're interested in any other education related master's degrees, that's absolutely fine, and information about them is available on the Leeds Beckett website, and you can also talk to Meri and myself and we can point you in that direction if that helps. But in terms of our master's degrees, we have the MSc, so a Masters of Science in Digital Education and Artificial Intelligence. So this is a course that's very much of the moment, as I'm sure you agree. This is preparing aspiring teachers, new teachers, established experienced teachers for teaching and learning in the current age that we're in now. So how do we make sure that we utilize digital tools effectively in class? We're all exceptionally good at using them in our private lives. A lot of teachers are less prepared, less confident to use them in class, to use them with students, to use them with real life pupils, etc. So this is a course that's really all about developing that knowledge, developing that understanding, and developing the confidence to do these things, with a real focus on artificial intelligence as well. We have the MA in Transformative Education. So this course is about 4 years old. I've been saying for 4 years that it's unique in the world. I'm honestly not sure if that's still true, but Certainly when we created the course, it was very, very unique. So this course is very much emulating a doctoral supervision experience. So this is where a student would have an idea for how they want to transform education in their context. So it might be that you want to think more about nutrition in your school. So start to understand the nutritional values of, or the educational values of good nutrition. Okay, so you come to us with a proposal and say, this is what I want to explore. I work in a kindergarten class, and I want to experiment. I want to undertake research into how how changing the nutritional content of our dinners in school will aid and benefit learning. That would transform learning for children. It might be that you, like Meri and myself this morning, are looking at working with a group of potential students that have not seen themselves as students before. You're going to transform education for those people. The projects can be huge, the projects can be tiny, but it's all about transforming learning for one person or more. So we've had examples where parents that are homeschooling their own children. So, you know, a mum that has a 14-year-old that she doesn't want to go to high school in the UK, they're homeschooling, but she wants to understand much more about how learning theory works. So she's undertaking a research project with us to help her to transform the learning of her child. The scope is endless. Now, what's unique about the course is it's a master's degree where you bring that project to us. You have the idea for the project of what you want to transform. We would put you through 3 20 credit modules. Most masters, in fact, every other masters that I'm aware of has 6 20 credit modules. We have 3, where we will take you through understanding how research should be carried out properly, ethically, legally, etc. We get you thinking about managing research teams. We get you thinking about ethics in relation to research in a detailed, masterly manner. But then you're given the opportunity to write a 120 credit dissertation, which is double the size of a normal master's dissertation. So the point is, you get to throw yourself into your project rather than undertaking lots of modules and then writing a dissertation. You very quickly get to throw yourself into your own project, and you're supported by a member of staff from my team in exactly the same way that you would be if you were undertaking a doctorate. So the other point of this course is it gets students thinking about, actually, I could do a PhD in education. I could do an educational doctorate, because you'll experience that kind of approach while you're on this program. We have the Masters in Inclusive Practice in Education. This is very much developed for teachers, teaching assistants, school staff who have an interest in inclusion. So certainly in the UK, it's inclusive practice, including all students, including students from every background, is something that we should be doing. And I have to say that it's something that a lot of teachers really struggle with. A lot of schools aren't where they should be in relation to inclusion. So our course, again, introduces you to the leadership elements right behind inclusion that are necessary, the practical skills in class, even in terms of thinking about how students that have not been included have developed their language skills differently, and how you can start to redress that balance. So it's a very clever course, I think, because it covers so many areas. And then we have 2 courses there that are both about mental health. So we have the leadership of school mental health and wellbeing, and we have the school mental health specialist. Now, depending on your position in your school or your setting or your kindergarten or your university or wherever it is that you're teaching, that would determine which of these courses you are eligible to apply. So if you have leadership responsibility for mental health and well-being in your school, then you'd be eligible for the top one there, for leadership of school mental health. This is not us setting barriers to people joining courses, but you need to have leadership responsibility and power in the school to be able to actually answer the assignments on the course. Okay, so it's us making sure that the right people are doing the right course at the right time. But that one's been specifically designed for school leaders who have got responsibility for mental health. And then the second one school mental health specialist. Again, this is a massive hot topic in the UK at the moment, and it's gathering pace throughout the world. Is every school needs to have real specialisms in mental health. So the school mental health specialist looks at both student mental health and also staff mental health, and develops your specialism to the point where you would be considered a specialist in your school if you undertook this course. In relation to mental health, so it's very practical. It's also nicely theoretical, with it being at master's degree level, and this again is a course that leads to a lot of students wanting to undertake further doctoral work, because it really whets that appetite for further investigation, further study into mental health. But these are the master's degrees that we offer. We've highlighted these because we have a track record over probably, I mean, this department's existed for 5 years now, but we've been offering some of these courses for much longer, and we've developed a real expertise in supporting students at a distance. And I think that's probably a significant reason why you should take our provision seriously. We do understand time differences. We understand the fact that different schools in different regions have different priorities. We understand that we do not preach a UK version of how education should be delivered. Meri and myself are actually quite scathing and quite disappointed in the UK education system, so we certainly don't have that sort of old colonial, this is how we do it and this is how everyone else should do it approach. It'd actually be pretty terrible if we did. So these are the courses that match that ethos, if that's something that you feel will sit well with you as a potential master's student. But now I'm going to hand over to my colleague Meri Nasilyan. She is course director in my department. She's the face of our courses, really. She's the point person. I think Meri and myself complement each other nicely. I don't think I could do with my job without Meri. I'm hoping that Meri couldn't do hers without me, and that we are a bit of a package like that. But we'll see. We'll let you make that judgment when you meet her. But if I can hand over to Meri, please.
Thanks, Steve. Hi, everyone. It's good to see some familiar names and some unfamiliar ones as well. So thank you for your time this afternoon and evening, wherever you are in the world. So now that you know a little bit more about the courses that we offer and the provisions that we offer, I thought to discuss some of the application stages. If you have prior learning that you want to be considered in terms of credit transfer or progression opportunity, I'll just try to keep it brief, but just to let you know that there are options available, and there is room for flexibility if you think that you might be eligible for that. So let me quickly go to this link, please. And I'll just try and explain by one of the examples of one of the course. Let me just close the tab. So all our applications are handled online. All the applications can be found on each course page, and all you need to do is just go to the course that you are interested in and then click apply online. If you are ready to start your application, you just create an account, or you might already have an existing account, and then you start the process. So everything is handled online. And then if you want to learn a bit more about the entry requirements or the specifics of the course in terms of the learning outcomes, or what the aim of the course is, the attendance mode, duration, start date, then I would encourage you to look at each of the course websites. We try to update this on a yearly basis so that it's current information around the modules, around key people to contact. So and then if you need to contact someone, my contact details will always be provided on individual websites. So that's from where you start to submit your application. And then as for entry requirements, we do get students from various backgrounds, really, academic or professional. The main entry requirement for our masters is that you are expected to have done some prior study. so an undergraduate or a postgraduate study previously, because master's degrees are level 7. So you are expected to have done either a prior level 7 or an undergraduate degree, just so that there are no gaps left in that transition to a master's degree. So that is the main entry requirement as such from a degree point of view. As from professional experience, or how well you have done in your previous degree in terms of matching that entry requirement for merit for your degree specifications, that could be negotiated. So you will see on each of the module page the entry requirements in terms of the degrees and the expectations for that threshold. However, if you do realize that you are not meeting that threshold with some merit, then admissions office, they do administer this recognition of prior learning, where they will contact me and Steve to then consider your application through that RPL, so recognition of prior learning. And then we'll look, if you've done enough experience in the field, if you have enough experience that would almost help cover that gap, then we will approve your application, even if you've not done that well in your previous studies, in your previous degree, through the RPL process. It's a very common process. We do this regularly on a weekly basis. We are getting those emails, so it is absolutely fine. And please be assured that it's not seen as a disadvantage or any point of any bad judgment towards any application. Absolutely not, because we do recognize that that everyone wants that access to education, to furthering their development, their professional development, their academic development. So at Leeds Beckett, we do have that option to consider you if there is something lacking in your application merit-wise. We do have the same process if you want to transfer prior credits, whether your credits are from Leeds Beckett University, from a degree you have done before. For example, if you have done a PGCE or a PG Cert in any discipline, either from Leeds Beckett or elsewhere, then you can ask the admissions office through your application to consider you through the same recognition of prior learning, but you are just transferring your prior credits towards your new master's. And in that case, if it's approved, and we have done that before, we have students who come to us in-house, they want to progress, or they have a degree externally and they want to transfer certain credits. Normally it's 60 credits, that's the maximum you transfer towards your master's degree. And what that results in is it decreases your timeline. So instead of then doing 180 credits that all master's courses have, you will simply then do 120 credits. So it does save time, and of course it decreases the tuition fee, because you would no longer have to pay for what you are transferring from your previous study. So that route is also highly administered within our department, but also within Leeds Beckett. So if you think that you have this opportunity to transfer credits, then you can speak to Julian's team or come to us directly, and we can help you with the option. But just know that the option of recognition of prior learning, whether it's through considering your experience or considering your previous study through credit transfer, is available. And then I will, in terms of that credit transfer, but also how modules are structured, I've provided this link here. It will be shared with my presentation. But just to give you an example of how the module structure is looking, what the modules are looking. So all our modules across our master's provision are core modules. So there is no obligation for you to then go and choose an optional module or pick up modules as you start your master's degree. So all the modules are core modules. And if you opt to do the full course, then you would be expected to successfully pass all of the modules. So the attendance, participation, engagement in courses are not part of assessment. So you're not assessed to how many emails you are sending to your academic team, or how many tutorials you are attending, or how many lectures you have listened to. So none of that is taken into account when you are assessed. What you are assessed on and only are your assignments. So at the end of each module, which lasts between 8 to 10 weeks, there is an assignment at the end that you submit. Upon completion of that assignment, upon successful passing of that assignment, you pass that module. So that's the only way that you pass your master's course. So we do give a lot of flexibility to our students to take charge of their learning, to take that self-directed approach, and then to see which type of learning works for you, how flexible you want your learning to work. And normally our assignments are very innovative. We sometimes give the option of the format or of the submission criteria to our students. They can choose how they want to submit their assignment, what format they want to experiment in. So that oftentimes again takes that pressure off the students to take charge of their learning and to experiment with certain kind of assessment tools. In terms of that credit transfer, which I'll give example on this one module, because on this one course, because I know it's of really big interest to our students. If you have prior degree that you want your credit to be transferred, so you have a PGCE or PG Cert, any kind of certificate that you have gained 60 credits from, and then you want to do, for example, the MA Transformative Education Masters that Steve talked about, but you want us to consider those 60 degrees, 60 credits, what you can do is then you can transfer those 60 credits from your certificate course and go on to this master's. And the beauty of this course is you will only then have to do just one module for your master's. And that is the big project that Steve mentioned, the Transformative Capstone project, because that module on its own is 120 credits. And you will only need to do that in one academic year, from May to June. So if you really want your master's to be a bit more intensive, but rather applicable to your practice, if you're interested in exploring research as a concept or conducting research, then I think this course would be fantastic for you. We have students who come to us from various educational backgrounds or teaching settings, and they just want to bring some sort of transformation to their practice. And because this is rather open-ended as education degree, you can do your research on any discipline that you want to do. It can be on education and management, it could be leadership, it could be inclusive pedagogy, it could be primary education, kindergarten education, curriculum, Montessori. So the angle that you can put for doing this master's could be decided entirely by you based on the context that you are currently working in. So with that credit transfer, what it does, it will knock off all the first 3 modules, and you will go directly to the final 120 credit module, and you will just do this in 9 months, and that will get you your master's degree. However, because Steve and I, we don't like to gatekeep things, and even if you wouldn't technically be doing these modules because per university guidelines you're not paying for them, we do give students a non-credit access to all our modules for that course. So even if technically you're not doing these modules, they're not part of your master's, you still can access them. just for content, just for that exposure to ideas to help you, or just give you that extra resource. You can't engage with the module as such, so you are not you can't do assignments or go to the lectures. But even if you go to any of the lectures, no one will really cause any problems with that, but you do still have access to those modules should you want to. And that is about all our courses that we offer. So even if you are exempt from them for various reasons, you are not officially on those modules, you are not assessed on those modules, but you can still ask for an access and we grant them. And that's exactly what we advocate for in our department. We want to make it digitally open to all our students, no matter what the circumstances are, and definitely not because of the financial reasons or fees added to it. So that's one example of what happens if you're transferring credit or what modules you are doing. And the same, of course, regards all the other masters. If you have a credit transfer, then you will do fewer taught modules and then a dissertation at the end. The other, before I had two questions, because I know it's better to have that kind of engagement. Just something around certificates. Oftentimes students think that an online course, and there are a lot of negative kind of connotations related to online degrees, but I want to assure you that this is not really an online degree. It's a fully accredited university degree delivered through distance learning. So it's not an online degree, it's a university degree just done online. And then your certificate, your transcript, your degrees will not have the word online on it whatsoever for that same reason that I've mentioned. It will simply say whatever your master's is, MA in Transformative Education, Leeds Beckett University, and that's all. And you will all be invited to graduation. You have all the support, student support opportunities. You have all the opportunities as every university student has through library, through student card, through all those online discounts. So all of that, you are a fully fledged university student. You're just doing it through distance learning. So all of those student support mechanisms that we have in place, including student wellbeing, student support, disability advice, library reading, all of those workshops, you will have full access to them. You'll just have to access them through online facilities and online support options. And of course, you will all be invited to graduation upon successful completion of your degrees. I've popped down our contact details. If you have any questions, please get in touch with us. We, with anything big or small, would like to help you in making this big decision. Doing a master's degree, it's an important career choice. It's an important educational choice. So we do encourage you to think about it and hopefully make the best decision that suits you the most. I'll stop sharing my screen in case there are any chats, and then happy to take any further questions. That's over to you now, Julian. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Steve and Mary, for that presentation. We're going to now open the floor up to you guys. I know some questions have been asked and we're going to get through them now. But yeah, please drop your questions, raise your hands, and we'll get through them now. I've got a couple of questions while people are going to be typing their questions. The one that I do want to raise for Dr. Steve Burton is I'd love to talk about how last year the course was called Masters in Science of Digital Pedagogy, and now how we've changed the name to Masters in Digital Education and Artificial Intelligence. Steve, do you want to talk a little bit how that happened?
Yes, I can give you a really boring answer about the university regulations and how we got it changed. But I think what you're probably referring to is we up until this coming September, so September 2026, the course is called the MSc Digital Pedagogy. Now, pedagogy, to start with, is the right word to describe learning and teaching. It's an old Latin word, I believe, but it's not a word that translates very well. So even though we were sort of educationally correct to call it digital pedagogy, it's not a word that made a lot of sense outside our corridor in Leeds, to be honest. So we realised that we needed to change that. At the same time, we'd run the course for 4 or 5 years. A lot of our students were opting to write their dissertations around generative AI and factors relating to AI in education and in enhancing the skills. What we've done is we had a lot of AI content within the modules, and it basically hit us. And why we didn't have this thought to start with, I'm not sure. That's quite embarrassing. But why were we not calling the course something more straightforward? So digital education instead of digital pedagogy, which translates better. Bearing in mind that the vast majority of our students on this course are not based in the UK, but also we wanted to flag the fact that artificial intelligence already was and continues to be a big part of the content of this course. So just to solidify that change, we changed the name. We also took out one of the modules and replaced it with a purely artificial intelligence related module. So rather than it being a topic that keeps coming up in the different modules, that still happens, but now we have an additional 20 credit module that is purely about, well, we call it leveraging artificial intelligence in education. So it's all about, it has to be said, Julian, we're very positive about artificial intelligence. We're fully aware of the dangers. We're fully aware of the social discussions about its issues, etc., etc. But fundamentally, we do believe that it's a power for good and it's a power to help teachers. So our modules and our ethos on the course is all about generating leverage for artificial intelligence and really getting teachers to expand their experience of using it. So I would say that's why we changed the name.
Perfect, Stephen. I think we've had a lot of questions this year and last year. Like you said, I think the issue is with teachers that are in, for example, Southeast Asia, and how the schools in China would translate a master's. Having digital education compared to digital pedagogy, 100% right move. And I think it's gonna, yeah, shine for people's CVs as well. So yeah, fantastic course. I've got a few other questions I'm gonna get through. There's one from Jay Ross, and he has asked, how closely integrated are these master's programs connected to working in international schools outside of the UK? I'm based in China, so I'm looking for a qualification that will be recognized in both China and my home country, Australia.
That's a great question. It's a really good question, Jay. Thank you. So we are not. I mean, basically, it's a UK university. These are all UK university master's degrees. They are not aligned to things like, so in the UK, we have something called qualified teacher status, QTS. I'm sure some of you will be aware of that. You may have come across QTS. You may have heard of IQTS. That's a teaching status. It's not a master's degree in its own right. So our courses are, as I say, they're aligned with the UK regulatory framework for university provision. So they're recognised all over the world. But they don't. If you need a qualification that is going to give you a particular status, like QTS, or like a status to do with educational psychology, for instance, or a status to do with social work, these courses don't do that, and they don't claim to do that. These are educational courses delivered at master's level according to the UK standards. Because of that, I feel that they are recognised in China and Australia, but not if you're wanting them to do something specific, like give you a teacher status, give you a psychological status, that kind of thing. We would never claim that they do that.
Perfect. Right. I've got Brianna, or I'm going to say Brianna. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. I'm going to unlock your microphone and allow you to ask your question. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and then you're free to go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, hi. Good to see you
Hello.
again, Meri, Julian. I did the PGCE and I'm not exactly decided on what master's program to do yet. I was looking to do, and I missed the first 10 minutes. So if you covered this, I was late getting into the meeting. But like, just like a general master's in education, because I'm American, I do worry about like the crossover. Like I would rather have like something more open-ended. Um, so I think I talked to Julian about this, wanting to do like a basic master's in education, and then he actually recommended including like leadership and management, but I didn't see that listed as like the master's courses offered. Is that possible, or am I like
Yeah,
what's the
so our school, the School of Education at Leeds Beckett does offer a Masters in Education with Leadership and Management. It's not delivered by our department though, so they don't have the same approach to distance learning that we do. So you are very, very welcome. I mean, you know, the good courses, but they don't do things. So you will have, if you did your PGC with us, Brianna, I know you did, you'll be aware of how we contact you, how we send notifications, um, how as a student in our department you are interacted with by the staff team and vice versa. That's our way of doing things, and that shines through. It starts with a PGC, and it shines through all the master's degrees. It's not necessarily an approach that's shared by all providers of education, whether you're speaking about a Chinese university, an American university, or even another department within our university. So we absolutely do have those courses. The decision for you is, do you go for the title that you want, which is a fine decision, but have a different type of experience than what you're used to with us, or do you go for something like transformative education, where you could, I'm going to use this phrase liberally, you could cash in your three master's level modules from your PGCE, be exempted from the first three modules of that course, which is automatic because that's how we've designed our courses. You'd have to go into an application process to do that, a written application process to do that with any courses outside our department. So that's an automatic process more or less for us. And then you could negotiate a project where you look at leadership in education, where you do research into what makes effective leaders in education, supervised by us. So the masters that you get would be an MA in transformative education, but the project that you'd undertaken could be about leadership and management if you wanted it to be. Or you go for the taught option with a different department of the MA education with leadership and management. So the choice is yours, Brianna, genuinely, but they are both choices for you.
Okay, that's good to know. I definitely want to stay in this program. And out of the six, I think I was drawn to the inclusive education one. Um, but I have another question as well. Since we get to transfer our credits from the PGCE and knock out the first three modules, and so most of our work will be like, is when you say like the one long module, is that the dissertation, or you're saying there's one module and then the dissertation? And if so, how many months is the dissertation?
So for transformative education, not the inclusive one, for the transformative education course is the one with the one large capstone module. So that is all you would do. There are 3 20-credit modules that you're exempted from because of your PGCE, and then one 120 credit module, which is the capstone project. So that's all you have to do on that course. On the inclusive practice course, that's more of a traditional master's degree approach. So you'd still be exempted from the first 3 modules because of your PGCE. You'd then have 3 other 20 credit modules to do, and then a more typical 60 credit master's dissertation on an inclusion subject for you to write afterwards. So it's the answer will be different for every person on the call, to be honest, Brianna. Okay. If you want to be taught about inclusion, then there is no better course than the Masters in Inclusive Practice. You know, if you want to undertake your own research and go your own way, then I think there's no better course than the Transformative Education. So it's genuine, but you've got our contact details from doing your PGCE, so we can arrange another call if you like to chat through. You can send us ideas via email. We can talk it all through. But you've got, I said at the start of this answer you'd got 2 options. It sounds like you've got about 4, to be honest. It's just going to be a case of picking the right one, isn't it?
Okay, great. Thank you. And my last question about the master's courses is, you mentioned having access to the other modules with like lectures and things like that. And since it is digital or distance learning, I'm assuming that because we're in different time zones, these lectures will be like pre-recordings, right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, okay. Exactly. Now we do offer seminars on different modules as well, but we offer them. So we'll offer the same seminar at different points during the day to account for different time zones. So you know, you might see that we're offering a seminar 3 times. You don't have to come 3 times. It's the same seminar that we're offering, but you pick the one that suits your time zone and your schedule best.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Perfect. Right, we're going to pass it over to Tom. I know Tom's got his hand up for a long time. Are you ready, Tom? I'm going to allow you to unmute your mic. Off you go, Tom. Okay, you're still muted. Should be in the top right corner.
I think while Tom is doing that, shall we go to Richard? Because I think Richard's hand was first. And he mentioned that it's my turn.
I'll come back to you in a minute. Yeah, I'll come back to you. Right, Richard, let me find you. Bear with me. There you are. Okay, Richard, you can unmute your mic.
All right, thank you guys. Meri, thank you for seeing. I think Gina, you didn't see it. It was my turn first, you know. All right, I'm planning. Yeah, I'm planning to do my master's, and considering my age, I'm 40 years now, and I'm drawn to MA in education with leadership and management since I have 10 years in the teaching field that I want to go into management, like maybe coordinator or something. But I'm also thinking of doing the digital pedagogy. So I don't know which one. So I don't know whether I can do both. I can finish one year and the other one. Since it's in different department, I want to continue my PhD with one of them. But with the leadership, Julian was like, it's a different department and it's different. I just want to know how to blend the two. I can do both within 2 years, but I want to focus to my PhD. So I don't know how to do it. You know, I want the leadership for management so that I know I'm done after 10 years. I can look for job as a coordinator or something of that sort. But I also want a digital one since most schools have the IBs and kids are using laptops in the classroom and everything. So I don't know how to blend it to. If I go to the digital, I can do my PhD, you know? So I'm just stuck between these two. If I could have an advice where in terms of discounts and also in terms of credit transfer and those kind of things, you know, that's how I'm just stuck between these two.
It's a very good question, Richard, and it's multifaceted and there's a lot to answer. I would start by saying from our department, you will always get honesty and we will always put your future first. So I and Meri might shout at me after this meeting, actually, I would say don't do 2 masters. Now I'm saying I'm gonna get closer to the screen so Meri can't hear us. This is just a conversation between me and you. Meri's got 3 master's degrees. Now, this comes up in our meetings at work all the time because I say, Meri, why have you got 3 master's degrees? Why didn't you do a doctorate? She's laughing. I can see she's laughing. That means I've hit it nicely. I'm not in trouble. Honestly, Richard, you can absolutely do a master's in education followed by an MSc in digital education. I'm not convinced that it's going to be a lot of money because there won't be a discount for something like that. It's just 2 separate courses, so there's no discount per se. You could use part of you could theoretically, now bear in mind that they're 2 very different parts of education that you're talking about, but you could theoretically use some of your MA in education that you do first to do the RPEL procedure that Meri talked about to exempt you from some of the MSc. But it sounds to me like you want to learn about digital education. You don't want to be exempted from it, you want to learn. So I would honestly, if I was you, I would take a minute and think about which one, if you thought, right, I've got 18 months before I'm not allowed to do any more master's degrees. I should have said this to Meri a long time ago. I've got 18 months before I'm not allowed to do any more master's degrees. Which one do I want to do the most? And then I would use that one to try and explore parts of the other one. So for instance, you might do your MA education with leadership and management, but for your dissertation, negotiate with their team that you want to investigate how to implement a new digital system in school from a leadership perspective. So you can sort of cross 2 bridges, if you see what I mean. It might be that you do the MSc digital education, but as part of your dissertation, you want to explore an element of digital education, but from a leadership and management perspective. So you manage to cross 2 bridges with 1 course. So that would be my man to man, that would be my friendly advice to you. Pick one and then move on to your doctorate. And again, with your doctorate, you basically write your own title, you write your own rationale. So if you want to look at leadership and management considerations in implementing a whole new digital environment for your school, that's your thesis, and that's what you concentrate on for your doctorate. But I wouldn't do 2 masters first. I'd pick the one that suits you best, take the parts out of it that work and try and add other parts in, and then do your doctorate. That would be my genuine advice to you.
Yeah, I like that. Because now with the decade in the teaching field, I really want to go to coordinating and because even in my school, I have a position very soon to be a coordinator. So I think I would go for the MA in education with leadership. Then like I'll take your advice, try to incorporate the 2 and see how I'm going to find a balance and everything. Thank you very much for I've been talking to Julian for a long time about this, so now I have the clarity now. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you, Steve.
No problem, Richard.
Okay.
Tom.
Let's get back onto Tom. Are you ready, Tom? You're up. Here's your spotlight. Let's do it. Okay, Tom, you're up. You can unmute. Allow mic. Oh, sorry, it's my fault. There you go. Sorry, Tom. Is it not working?
Tom, I've got a feeling that your mic isn't recognized by the Microsoft Teams interface. I wonder if your mic's not installed. Yeah, do you want to type your question, mate?
Yeah, is that good for you? Yeah, pop it in, and then I'll read another question while we're on that, and I'll just lower your hand as well. I have got some that's appeared on my desk. I'm gonna go ahead and answer this one, if you guys don't mind. Can the masters be paid in installments? Yes. Now, Leeds Beckett University do have installments. We have the same installments as if you did do the PGC, or if you're new to Leeds Beckett University, yes. There are a few different options you can do. We've got the 50-50 plan, where you pay 50% by the end of September, and then the remaining is the end of January. And with that, there's no strict rules. So, for example, you can do the 50% in September, and then you can chip away at that remaining 50% by doing 10% a month, October, November, December, January. There's no fixed time that you have to pay. You can pay as, you know, as many times as you like, just making sure that you do you make those deadlines, which will be 50% September, 50% end of January. Now, the best part is with the masters, some people do like to spread that over 2 years. And I'd love to talk to Steve and Meri about that as well, because I know maybe Transformative, it's easily done within a year. But if you're going to do it over 2 years, the cost does go over 2 years as well. So that makes it 25% September, 25% January, and then the following September, January, the remaining 25%. Is that correct, Steve, in terms of we could spread it over 2 years if they wanted to?
Yeah, it's spread over the life of the program. So if you're doing the transformative education, for instance, and you do the full course, so you would do that over 2 academic years. So the course it'd actually be one third in the first year, because you're doing 1/3 of the credits in the first year, so 1/3 of the price, and then 2/3 in the second year, because you're doing that big capstone project, which is 2/3 of the credits. So yeah, absolutely, the cost can be spread over the number of academic years that the course lasts. So if you wanted to do a full-time master's, they are typically 1 year. So you have 1 year to pay. So it's, you know, the 50% up front, as Julian said, and then your own arrangement. But it's got to be done within that year. Basically, the longer the course, the longer you've got to make the payments.
Perfect. And I've got another question from Gabby, and I know it was answered by Meri earlier. Do the 60 credits from the PGCE ever expire? Let's say they take a gap year. When would they expire in terms of RPL?
So the usual kind of standard is that 5 years. So the credits hold their value for 5 years. So that's if you want to take it externally. So if you want to apply to a different university, that's what we advise our students. If you want to come to us, we can absolutely accept you back even after those 5 years. So it will again be that room for negotiation and discussion, but we don't want to put that cap on our students. But if you want to know the general rule, that's 5 years. But if you want to stay with Leeds Beckett, even if you come back to us after 5 years of doing your PGCE, we will definitely consider you.
Perfect. Now, Tom's question. So Tom has asked, he couldn't find the course spec on the Leeds Beckett website. I think I know, I believe that is down to the fact that it's a new course title for this year. I know the 2025, you can see the booklet, but if you click on 2026, it's not there. He's asked, is there a module breakdown?
We can talk you through one, Tom. There is a module breakdown. We are waiting for the new course. As Julian said, the new course has a new website, which I thought had gone live actually. I know it's been sent to our dean for approval, but I think it is there, Tom. The course spec might not have been attached to it though, but it's exactly the same as the course spec for MSc Digital Pedagogy, the previous one, other than we had a module called Setting-Based Independent Study. That's now been removed and replaced with a module called Leveraging AI in Education. That's module 5 there that you can see on Meri's list on screen. Some of the other course outcomes have been tweaked slightly, and some of the content has been it's had the artificial intelligence upgraded within it to basically when you create a course in the UK university system, you have to go through a validation process which requires you to get all these external experts to not only agree that it's a suitable course and that the content is good, but that there's enough content to justify the title. So we had to justify that there was enough artificial intelligence content within the course to a panel of experts for us to justify calling the course MSc Digital Education Artificial Intelligence. So we have the new module that replaces setting-based independent study, and we also have upgraded AI topics and outcomes in the other modules to make it fairer. But other than that, it's the same structure. And then yours is a multifaceted question as well. It would cover, so your PGCE would cover those first three on Meri's list. Exactly the same as it did before. And online, the course duration is 2 years. Considering the transferred credits, how long would the course? Yeah, so you do it in, if you did it either full-time or part-time, with you taking 3 modules exemptions, it would still just take you a full year. But it would be a full calendar year, not an academic year. So you'd start in September, you'd finish the following September, because the dissertation module, or what we're actually calling a major academic project now, that is going to start with your course, but we're going to give you the full following summer to complete it as well. So you basically go September to September. Is that okay for you, Tom? Give us a thumbs up. Nice one, mate. Cheers.
Perfect. Right, the next question, Steve. The capstone project, is it like a 10,000 word dissertation? That's by Michael and Sarah.
Michael and Sarah, that's a great question. It is exactly like a 10,000 word dissertation, but for 2 differences. It's 22,000 words, not 10,000, because it's this massive piece of work. Now, trust us, the word count will fly because you are choosing exactly the subject that you want to write about. Okay, it's the thing that drives you to go to work on a Monday morning. It's the thing that gets you out of bed on a morning, the issue at work that you're wanting to solve. That's what you're going to be writing about. So it's structured very much like a 10,000 word dissertation that you might have done on your undergraduate degree. Introduction, methodology, literature review, findings, discussion, conclusion, etc. Each of those sections is bigger. Plus, we ask you to talk about transformative learning. So, as part of your methodology, or as part of your as part of your literature review, or as a separate chapter, we want you to talk a little bit about the power of transformative learning and add some transformative learning theory in there. But otherwise, it's just like any dissertation that you've written before, just a bit longer and a bit deeper. And you have a one-to-one supervisor from one of our team that will stay with you for the full year to support you through it.
Perfect.
Is that all right for you, Michael and Sarah?
Yeah. Michael, Sarah, give us a thumbs up.
We've got a brill, thank you.
Right.
On the
We've
chat.
got
That's awesome.
another question, Steve. I'm interested in scholarship or bursary options for the Masters. Does Leeds Beckett University offer any? And I'd love to chip in with anyone who are from the UK. You know, student loan company, unfortunately, because the course is online and there's a certain threshold in terms of tuition as well that gets involved with that. Because you are a distance learning student loan company doesn't facilitate that, I believe. In terms of scholarships and bursaries, I don't know if you know any more information on that one, Steve or Meri.
No, it's not something that we get involved with all that often. Sometimes as a head of department, I have an opportunity to say we might offer a bursary, but it's not something that's on the horizon at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, no problem. I've got a great question that came in. It's not on the chat. Do you need to be teaching currently to be, you know, part of one of the master's courses? Because I know with Meri's postgraduate certificate in education, they have to sign the employment supporting document and be currently teaching throughout the course. Is that the same with the master's courses?
Okay, shall I go? No, not really. So you do not have to be in a teaching position. You can come to us from any professional background. We've had people who were working in like the legal field, just joining us from various in like the digital field, in NGOs. So you don't have to be a teacher to do our masters. However, because this is a School of Education masters, a lot of them will have that pedagogical lens in them. So it's all around pedagogy, all around education, all around transformative learning, transformative education, research through the lens of pedagogical impact, but you do not have to come from the pedagogical background yourself.
Perfect. And there is another question. I know you mentioned about your Masters in Leadership of School Mental Health and Wellbeing. Part of the requirements for that is that you need to be in a leadership role. Are you able to help define leadership role? You know, could that be as far as supervisor, foreign managing director, vice principal, principal? What would you need in terms of the requirements? So what evidence would they need to provide in terms for them to get onto the Masters?
For that particular course, you need to evidence having responsibility around directing mental health in a school or an educational setting. So it doesn't rely on you to be at a particular level in the school per se, like a head teacher or a head of year or anything. It's more about, do you have the authority to make changes to how the school handles mental health? So you could be at any level within the organizational structure, but you do need to be able to evidence that you can make changes to mental health policy, because again, that's actually part of one of the assignments. You have to do that and then evaluate it. And if you can't do it, then you can't pass the module, unfortunately. So we're very clear before people enroll that you've got to be in that position.
Makes complete sense. We've got another question that came in from Richard, and Richard's asked, after completing the Masters, he would really like some guidance on completing his PhD. One, will it be possible to do their PhD online? And two, I guess, once they're completing their Masters, do you guys give guidance on what, you know, research proposal they would have to submit for that PhD application?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Okay, we don't advertise an online PhD. And I'm speaking quietly because the Deputy Vice Chancellor that's responsible for research degrees has just walked past me, because I'm here in the main building at Leeds, and she knows that I want us to offer an online one, and she's yeah. So that's an argument that we're having internally at the moment. We want to offer an online PhD. It will happen. It does happen at other universities. It's very common. In all honesty, Richard, I know of a very good PhD in education and leadership that is offered online. It's offered all over the world, and it's at another university. And I could talk to you about that offline at some point if we're not in a position to help you in a couple of years' time. You would absolutely get in contact with potential supervisors at a university. So once you know what your subject area is going to be, so I get people coming to me all the time that I've taught, and they'll say, "Oh, I want to do a doctorate about Chinese philosophy. Will you supervise me?" Because they've got a good relationship with me. Like, well, I can't, because I don't know anything about that. You know, so what you need to do is spend your time doing your master's degree, making links with the lecturers, with the researchers, with the authors that are writing about your specific area, and then approach those people with proposals. And it feels like a strange thing to do. It feels like you're pestering, but it happens every day. At every university that I'm aware of, you receive emails from people that are interested in working under you as a PhD student. It's perfectly normal. So please do your masters and then start to think about what you want to really specialize in for your doctorate, and take it from there. Was that all the elements of the question, Julian?
Yeah, that was exactly it. And I think Richard's replied there is appreciates that answer a lot. Perfect.
No problem, Richard.
I think, guys, that is all the questions that we've got through. I know we're running out of time now. It's an hour and a half, so I think we're going to call it there. But if you do have more questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to myself, Meri, or Steve. I'm going to share their emails with you guys, and you're welcome to ask any more questions over WeChat, WhatsApp, email. But yeah, get in touch. Thank you so much for your time, Steve and Meri, and really excited for the next one.